Hey everyone, welcome. It's Sarah Shemason from Beyond NLP Coaching, your one-stop shop to clear any trauma, PTSD, phobias, and anything in between and build a better relationship with yourself. So today's topic, I'm going to be talking about why we loop and what happens with those behaviors with the looping. So what I discovered sitting with so many clients, and one of the clients being myself, my own guinea pig in my life experience, is the reason why we loop is because somewhere down the track or in our timeline, in our childhood, we have made some sort of decision. And that decision was pretty much based on an experience, on an event, on the environment that challenged us, squeezed us, cornered us into a space of uncomfortability, unsafeness, feelings of abandonment, or whatever it is. So in that moment, what we tend to do as human beings is we make a decision, and that decision in that very moment keeps us safe, keeps us protected, serves us so we don't experience the same heightened feeling or the emotion or the tension in our body or the sensation that's quite uncomfortable. And so what we do is we decide unconsciously, but to keep us safe and well and complete, is we disassociate. Or we decide that we must neglect our emotions, or that if somebody is so extremely emotional that every time they're emotional and the tears show up and the parent comes and reminds them that's not good and shut it down, they decide to shut down, but not shut down only around that person. They tend to shut down for the rest of their life, not recognizing that that decision was made when I was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, somewhere around that timeline. And so when I'm 20 and 30 and 40 and now carry my own relationship, when now I have my own children and I realize I can't empathize or sympathize or experience the emotion of sadness, fear, or guilt. And so the first response comes up is anger, is rage, because I don't know what's going on, because the underlying emotions that I thought I knew I was expressing when I was a child was dimmed down and shut down. And so what I had to do is conform to my environment to stay safe and complete, only until I realized that I've got some sort of disassociation in my family that my wife or husband has just reminded me of. I have some addictive behavior just to avoid the pain or sensation of something that I don't know how to navigate anymore, and I don't even know why. I could be overeating, undereating, punishing myself. I could self-sabotage every time I do well through academics, through work, and every time I achieve and someone says, "Oh, you're so great." I shut that down and I do something to screw it up, but I don't understand why, and no one ever really explained it. And then so it reinforces and reconditions a decision I made somewhere in the past based on the environment that I was around that made me feel uncomfortable, unsafe, or unheard. And so now it's showing up in the way I sabotage myself, whatever it may be. The point that I want to bring across to you today is, truthfully, what happened to you or what you experienced, or the decision, the limitations, the beliefs, the values that shifted at that time for whatever reason, whether you're aware or not aware of it, it's not the point. My question to you, do you recognize that truthfully, let's be real, right now, that does not exist anymore? That story happened to you, past tense. It is not happening in the now, but because, and I've said this so many times and I'll repeat this, and you probably have heard this from so many people, but because our brain does not know the difference between what is happening in this very moment or what happened yesterday or 10, 20 years prior, because it can't contextualize the difference, because the emotional charge is still there. It is charging the volume of the decision, the emotion, the sensation, the tension, whatever might be going on in the body. It is resolving it through the conditioning of a habit or learned behavior, through addictions, through drugs, through smoking, through eating disorders, through withdrawals, through self-sabotage, and so many mind-blowing things more, which then can inhibit and create an appearance of dis-ease, labels like autism, ADHD, bipolar, multiple personality disorder, and all of these things and big words to make you feel even more certain that something's wrong with you. But because your brain doesn't know the difference between what happened, what is happening, and what you could choose to happen, it's running the process in the now as though it's from yesterday. And so whenever you go to a therapy and you work on overcoming the shit, you find you look back because they haven't worked deep enough to clear the moment that, whether you're aware or not, your unconscious mind created a decision. And through that decision, you've been running a program, and that program equated into any aspect of health, mentally, addictions, behaviors, habits, whatever you want to call it, doesn't really matter, because it has to sit under some sort of category: self-sabotage, imposter syndrome, overthinking, insomnia, whatever label you want to give it. Don't really agree with labels. I look at things more as behavior. But because your mind doesn't know the difference, you're living in the now as though you were in the yesterday. My question to you is, for how much longer will you continue to live in the now as though it was happening now from yesterday? I mean, could you not recognize that somewhere in those past events from 0 to 7, because that's when you're downloading the most information in your brain, that's when you've expunged the environment, that's where decisions were made, that's where patterns were learned, that's where values were built, that's where the behaviors and conditionings have stemmed from in the now. Yes, there are challenges. Yes, there are effed up situations that will happen to you during your lifetime that could remind you of the past or be nothing to do with the past. And you'll be like, but Sarah, I had a great childhood, but the thing that happened to me was only 5 years ago when I was 40 or 35 or 20. But hold on a second. All the downloads from 0 to 7 must have given you some sort of perspective to either know how to cope or not cope with what you've just been challenged by. And so based on the old downloads, you're running a program in the now from a new challenge based on an old program that might no longer be serving you or functional for you. So I'll come back to the main question. For how much longer will you continue to hold on to what something no longer exists outside of you, but it's something you've been running inside? Look, the moment that you decide to let it go, literally let it go, the moment you make that decision is the moment that your unconscious will challenge you, will bring you into that sabotaging, rotation, looping state, whatever other label you want to give it, right? It's going to hold you back because it wants to keep you safe, conformed, and it wants you to adapt to it because that's all it knows. And it will challenge you even more. And that's why people relapse. But when will you recognize that every time you come out of what no longer exists and get uncomfortable with the old programming, to override it with a new set of thoughts and beliefs and decisions, until the old program gets overridden with the new decision you make that this is not happening, this is in the now, I make my own choices, I'm 30, I'm 40, I'm 50, whatever it might be. And what happened has happened. And remind your unconscious mind that we're safe and we're okay and we're protected. We're not going to fall. And if we do, we're going to catch ourselves, or we've got the right partner or family member, or whatever might be happening in your environment. What would happen if you consistently overrid the old patterns, overrid the sabotage to bring you back into that conformity of the familiar, and then live in the now, as the now is only now. And every time I even say now, it doesn't even exist anymore because it's momentarily, it's present. And now is no longer coming from the past or the future, because the future will create the anxiousness and the past will grapple on the sadness. And either one don't really exist. The only thing that exists is now. Now again, and now again. And it's just a rotation. And if you live in this very moment and you let go of the past and remind the unconscious that nothing exists beyond now and before now except now, wouldn't that allow you to overcome post-traumatic trauma stress disorder? Won't that allow you to slow down your mind? Won't that help you overcome the addiction? Wouldn't that then sustain consistently what you want now? Wouldn't that give you liberation? Wouldn't that allow you to feel empowered, that now you're even in more control? Your unconscious isn't running from an old program based on an old belief, based on an old system, because that's what was serving you. Wouldn't that now allow you to recognize that what no longer had served you in the now and will no longer serve you in the future, what you could choose now is what will serve you moving forward, is the decision you make to let it go. That's it. It's so effectively easy. Let it go. Let go of all the emotions of anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, and shame. Let go of all the images that were negatively associated to the past. And even if the past was a minute before you press play on this video, let go of the experiences that even happened 10 minutes ago. Let go of any associated states that were attached to something negative. Let it go. Move from the effect of a story into the cause, causing an effect of a new story, because only now exists and tomorrow will only exist based on the now you decide to choose to let go of yesterday to live tomorrow in the decision you make in the now. I mean, you're probably thinking, what is she saying or what is she doing? Well, what I'm actually doing right now is I'm pacing you. I'm getting you to think. I'm scrambling your mind, your unconsciousness, and I'm dropping you into a level of trance, which is your own hypnosis. When people come to me, they don't come to have an experience of hypnosis. They come to get out of the hypnosis that they've been in, which is the old conditioning, just to drop into a different sense of hypnosis, because we're hypnotized daily. We're on social media, we're driving, there's a conformity of all this media and contamination of thoughts and beliefs and all these resources that are overloading our brains and overstimulating us. And so we're consistently in a trance state without choice. And some by autopilot based on past decisions. And what I'm doing is unconsciously helping your unconscious to slow down. Think of the question, when will you decide to let all the emotions of anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, and shame go? The way I'm speaking is helping you drive into your own hypnosis again. And maybe your unconscious can realize, hey, we can let this go. I am using some hypnosis on you right now. If you choose to take the suggestion of letting it go on board, if it aligns with the decision that you make a decision now to let it go, then hey, by the end of you watching this video, the problem is no longer a problem. And the only time it becomes a problem is when you rethink of a problem that no longer exists and bring it back into the forefront of your life, which is in the now, and rerun the old program. And you just re-anchor it, and that's called relapse. But if you choose to take on board the suggestion and let go of the anger, sadness, hurt, guilt, fear, and shame, and you let go of any negative emotions that were attached to images and stories and experiences and events and the feelings and the tension and the sensations in your body, well, hey, every time it tries to sabotage you and come back through, you can let it go again, which means that you live at cause of every effect moving forward, and effect now no longer affects the cause of your past. Does that make sense? Probably doesn't, but it will when you let it go. Because when you let things go, there's nothing else to hold on to except the truth that the only thing that really exists is in the now. So my suggestion would be, and you're probably thinking, did she really just do hypnosis? Well, I didn't do it to you. I was doing it with you. If you were participating in listening to what I was saying, well, hey, your mind might have been taking on board the suggestions of letting all that shit go, so you can actually live in the now, and so you can have a purposeful life that you now drive, not based on the past or yesterday or the day before or 50 decades prior. For all I care, That's gone. And I get it. That's all you know, because hey, I lived for 7 years in extreme chronic anxiety. It was so debilitating to the point where paramedics were my besties and morphine was also my bestie. Not the side effects that came afterwards, but one day until I said no more. And that day was after many more years when my heart once stopped for a few minutes. And I remember levitating or out of my body and having that out of body experience and realizing, hey, shit, there's more to life. Can you bring me back? And I thought I was never going to come back. But I remembered I had 3 kids waiting for me at home and I needed to come back. And I did. But I came back still in a state of shitness until many more years after that, because that wasn't enough to awaken me when I had to have the electrical lightning, which I don't even remember because I just opened up my eyes and found myself in ICU with what was it, calcium and magnesium pumped in with ice packs on my hand because of the heat it generates in the body, while my body was going through seizures upon the awakening and prior to my heart stopping and my liver and kidney and everything shutting down pretty much quite quickly. It wasn't enough. Till one day I snapped. And that day that I snapped, I felt that everything was just pushing through. And I was like, fudge, I got to make a choice. Do I stay here where I'm at now with all these emotions based on things that no longer serve me? Or do I let that shit go? And so I made a conscious choice to let it go. Was it hard? Yes. Was it sustainable? Not for too long, until I kept persisting. And it took me months until I figured it out. Now, I help hundreds and hundreds of people do the same thing based on my life experience, not the certificates. Certificates do nothing. They're just on the wall. They're fancy little things just to show people that I'm accredited to help them come out of their shit, because I came out of mine. Truth is, it's the life experience, it's the rapport, it's the trust that I build with my clients to show them the evidence. If, hey, I can do it, can you not do what I did? Question. Anyway, I hope this video has been helpful. Please subscribe, share, like, comment. If you want more of this, show up on the page. You'll find a lot more of useful tools, facts, stories that will help get you out of your shit. From my heart to yours, as always.